Hello everyone, I'm Josh, I'm with Daniel and Julia, and this is the very first episode of ABL Recap, where we talk about the ins and outs of every ABL game. So last weekend, we had a series of preseason games among Singapore Slingers, Mono Vampire, and the Macau Black Bears. So Daniel was there during the preseason in Bangkok.
Yep.
So how are the teams so far? How are they looking?
For me, the teams are doing great right now, especially Mono Vampire. It's like almost everyone from their locals are showing up, and then they have like a good system already under Andrej Urlap. They feel comfortable playing with each other, and I guess I'm really excited to see them in action this season. With the Macau Black Bears, it's really an adjustment time for them without Anthony Tucker in the mix, and also Ryan Watkins, who also appears to be a Mono Vampire.
Yeah.
Mike McKinney was the one who stood out the most for the Macau Black Bears during the three-day event, and also for the Singapore Slingers. It's really exciting to see Xavier Alexander and Marcus Elliott on one court playing with each other as Singapore Slingers, and you can see so far they have the connection already. The problem is how will they integrate everyone in their team to this kind of system where they are the leading backcourt duo of the Slingers.
So that, for the viewers at home, so that they know, the record was Mono Vampire won 2 games.
Yeah, 2 games.
2-0. Macau Black Bears 1-1, while the Slingers were 0-2. So Julia, why do you think the Slingers are having trouble right now in the preseason?
Oh, I think because according to their coach, they just started practice October. They're still having trouble finding chemistry from one another.
Yeah, they have like Marcus Elliott, ball dominant guard, just like X-Man. They have McLean, they have Leon Kwek coming back. So like what you said, I think it's more of an adjusting period. Who gets the touches, who ends the game,
It's more
who's the main man.
It's more like they're trying to gain ground.
Yeah.
With Leon Kwek, who just returned from national service from his home country of Singapore, I mean, he showed his flashes during the game. In his first game, he scored 12 points, and he can finish right through the rim. He still has that quick touch, I like to call him Lightning Kwek. It's really fast. I mean, he still has that speed with him. He's still smooth to play. He still has the smooth touch around the rim, and also when he's fast, he's the one who's really finishing the fast breaks. Leon Kwek is like the vital key to their preseason outings last weekend. Okay. With Delvin Go as well, he was a big bruiser. He's been playing actually pretty well compared to his previous 2 seasons where he had efficient numbers as well. But during the preseason game, he was really aggressive inside the rim. He was trying to bruise inside. He was trying to get some buckets inside.
He finished with 10 points.
10 points.
For both games. Oh, yeah.
10 points.
Okay.
And
Did he meet your expectations?
yes,
you would say?
he didn't meet my expectations of being aggressive. Like, he gets hacked inside the rim. That's a key.
Can he win local MVP this year?
For me, local MVP, I guess so.
Okay.
He's there in the list. Don't worry.
Fair
But with
assumption.
all the locals around in the ABL this season, it's gonna be a tougher competition for Delvin Go. But still, for me, he still has what it takes to be local MVP.
Okay, so now, one of our big questions going into the season was for the Macau Black Bears. They have a small lineup. The tallest player is 6'8", with Brandon Edwards being 6'6". We were talking about how will they get the rebounds. But looking at the stat sheet right now, I'm surprised to see Brandon Edwards grabbing 18 rebounds at only 6'6".
Yes.
Wow.
So, does that mean that we have answered the question about, or is this too early to tell?
I guess so. It's too early.
It's too early.
I mean, given his height, a disadvantage. But what he lacks in size, he has with strength. He has with speed.
He makes up for it in defense.
Defense, okay.
On defense. And he's also a pretty mobile center. He can get right inside the paint, box out right away, and then even though he can't grab the rebounds, at least there are some guys who can grab the rebounds for him. And for Brandon Edwards, showing up with 15 rebounds in the game against Ryan Watkins, against Anthony McLean, one of the biggest
He's
men.
looking to be Defensive Player of the Year. We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, it's too early to say. It's still the preseason, don't worry.
Just reminding everyone, this is a preseason game. The Slingers, although they were 0-2, they still have until December to figure it out. They have their first game in December.
For me, everyone really showed up really well. It wasn't like a preseason game for me. It was like a regular season game. Like the intensity's there. Like the emotions were high. I saw Mike McKinney just shouting at the refs, something like that. But
In a preseason game.
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's really intense with all the action that's happening. It's really fast paced. The fast breaks from Mono Vampire. They're really showing like, man, we are about to rock the ABL this season. We're about to win this championship. They're all about that. I'm not saying for those teams who participated in the preseason, we're like, no, we're not hungry for a championship. But it's more of the intensity. The intensity stood up for Mono Vampire. For Macau Black Bears, they're still trying to gain ground on how they utilize their locals. They only managed to utilize Jenning Leung, Lu Zihao, and also Warren Yang. So I'm just really disappointed not seeing Nelson Chan playing. Man,
With his orange hair.
yeah. I mean, he's really flashy. I think he can really hoop. They have other players as well, like Roger Kamchi.
And the local players.
Yeah, they have like Atong Chong Pong Lao. They have this intensity and athleticism, like it's up to par with ABL talent.
Okay.
But it's just worrying to see that the coach didn't utilize everyone in their roster. Given it's a preseason game, it's not yet a regular season game, so there's no bearing whatsoever. And for the Singapore Slingers, it's more of gaining ground right now. Again, like what you said,
It's
Marcus
too early.
Elliott just joined the team. Leon Quick just returned. Anthony McLean also made a comeback for the Slingers. And it's going to be difficult for them to try to gel the pieces again because they have lost several key players such as Nang Han Min, who's a staple for the Singapore Slingers. So it's going to be difficult for them right now. And they're trying to figure out the chemistry, their system, how would they work with Xavier Alexander and Marcus Elliott on one court. Still, they show a lot of promise, and I still see them as a top contender for this season.
Julia?
Well, for the Mono Vampire, all of them showed up for me. And then the Macau Black Bears, as Daniel said, Mike McKinney really showed up for the Black Bears. I was just looking for more action from the local players. And for the Slingers, it's too early to say something about. It's just the preseason. Let's just see what's in store for the Slingers this coming season.
I think it's time to move on to our previews for the opening weekend. First game, Taipei Fubon Braves with the Macau Black Bears. On Sunday, we have the Taipei Fubon Braves on a back-to-back against the KL Dragons, with Alab Pilipinas visiting Mono Vampire in Bangkok. So, okay, the opening game, Taipei Fubon Braves with the Macau Black Bears. What do you think will happen?
With the help of everyone, not just Mick McKinney, the local players, I hope they show up as well so they can show what they got from their practice and from the preseason game. All the things that they've learned, they can use it there.
It's pretty impressive to see that Taipei Fubon Braves will be making their ABL debut this season, and it's going to be really exciting because you've got OJ Mayo into the mix. You got Charles Garcia as a finals MVP in the SBL.
We've got the 7-4 Simbolar.
Yeah, Simbolar, and then Lin Chi-Chet, a star local in the Taiwanese basketball scene. And with a deep roster as well. It's going to be tough for Macau Black Bears for this matchup because, again, it's going to be like Mike McKinney just showed up during the preseason. And then, but what I'd like to see is more intensity from their locals. And also, Kenny Manigal can play as a good two-way player. He will really be beneficial to the Macau Black Bears in the long run.
Okay, let me know if you agree. I think the most interesting point, once again, is the size difference. Macau Black Bears, tallest player 6'8", starting center 6'6". Now you have Simbolar, who is 7'4",
7'4".
and Charles Garcia was 6'10". So, do you think that will play a big role during the matchup?
Oh, definitely.
For me, it's going to be a battle of speed for Macau Black Bears.
Oh.
As mentioned by Brandon Edwards, he may not have the size advantage, but he's making it up for his strength, for his speed. It's going to be difficult for Simbolar to match up against a mobile center like him.
Okay. Now going on to the Sunday's game, again back-to-back Taipei Fubon Braves versus the KL Dragons. What do you expect?
I'm just excited to see how Will Artino plays with the new teammates.
Opening weekend back-to-back, will fatigue play a factor?
Yeah.
Will, just losing all the adrenaline from the first game carry over to the second day?
I'm really excited to see Will Artino if he can really turn around the franchise. Like for the past how many seasons do you haven't made the playoffs since winning their championship? And then it's gonna be a fresh start for the Dragons as well with a new name, new set of players. It's gonna be a really exciting season for the KL Dragons.
Yeah, now the second game on Sunday, Alab Pilipinas versus Mono Vampire. So I think it's an interesting matchup. Mono Vampire, one of the strongest teams heading to the season. They have played with each other throughout the preseason. Basically, they are an intact core from last season.
On
the other hand, San Miguel Alab Pilipinas, they lost Balkman, they lost Parks, Kalon Chongson. Only 2 players are returning from last year. What do you expect from their first matchup?
It's going to be like, as for the Slingers who are trying to gain ground during the preseason, it's going to be similar with the Alab Pilipinas. Again, without Balkman in the mix, without Bobby Ray Parks in the mix as well, it's going to be difficult for them to gel as a team with like how many days left before the season starts. But I'm really interested with the amount of talent that they have. They have a lot of young prospects from Jeremiah Gray, of course. They have Louis Vigil, they have Andre Caracot. They have a lot of promising talent. Also, Jordan Heading.
Okay, now, any predictions? What are your predictions for the first 3 games of the season?
I've got Alab, Fubon, and then the Dragons.
Okay, so the Dragons will win during the second game.
We'll see.
Okay. So for me, I think Fubon Braves, the Taipei Fubon Braves, will win against the Macau Black Bears. I think they'll go back-to-back wins this opening weekend. I think Mono Vampire will win against San Miguel Alab Pilipinas just because I think San Miguel Alab Pilipinas will have to figure things out. It's their first official game together.
Yeah.
So I think they'll have the disadvantage going to the weekend.
Well, I'll go with John as well.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Taipei Fubon Braves winning the first game, another back-to-back win against KL Dragons, and then Mono Vampire again. It's a system that's going to work.
Okay. There you have it. The ABL starts on November 16. That's a Saturday. For more updates, go to our official website and our social media accounts. We'll see you again next time.